going after people who have all your clients instead of pursuing clients one-to-one. Who am I to do a website? There's people who know it better than me. Who am I to make a funnel or do Facebook ads? There's people who know it better than me. Things like that. That's called imposter syndrome. Show up and go, hey, I had a cool idea for you. I'm not really sure it'll work, but you open to run in a little test and we'll see if it works. And then if it works, you can pay me something for it. And if it doesn't, we'll just, cut it short at a test. We live? Is it working? I know you guys are just in this for the jazz fingers. I think we can officially stop the jazz fingers. I can hear my kids screaming downstairs in the pool, and that is some exciting times. Welcome back, everybody. Excited to see you guys for another round, another Facebook Live. Some big questions, some big agencies, lots of cool stuff. You guys are growing. I've learned how to, by the way, pin a top comment. Martin is here. Martin, by the way, for those of you guys who don't know, Martin is a fucking genius. He's got a wide, diverse set of skills, but he's been helping me with a ton of cool tech integrations and stuff like that. If you guys are trying to make cool stuff happen, making Zapier and other things talk to each other and make automations happen, that is one of his skill sets. I don't know if he's even interested in offering that to you guys, but Martin is worth talking to you for those of you guys who are potentially interested. Maybe you can bribe him, throw some money his way, and drop my name. Quick announcement. As I mentioned, I figured out how to pin a top comment about the mastermind for those of you guys who are interested. We are starting to add a now done-for-you component where I want to, my vision for it is to, all the processes we have inside of our agency is to take those, build a team of VAs that are accessible to everybody in the mastermind. So all your research, all your outreach, even aspects of fulfillment are just done for you. I haven't fully released the details because it's something I've been working on behind the scenes. Mostly it's just a lot of boring ass documenting processes and step-by-step this and breaking things down into scripts and templates and all that. But that is the future where we're going, because I want to make it so basically when somebody joins, you are absolutely 1,000% guaranteed to succeed. And have all the tools and systems and resources and things like that. So that's what we're kind of building. If you guys are interested, we're not quite there yet, but we still have some pretty fucking awesome stuff inside. Check that out. Anyways, let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Fihn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Ba-dum-bum-bum. You can tell I'm not a drummer. I am a guitarist, though, but I got a broken string right now, so been too lazy to change it. I don't know if any of you guys play, but it takes 10 minutes to change a string or a set of strings, and I don't know, I haven't felt like doing it, so I haven't played in a few weeks. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Steven's up first. He says, Frankie Fihn, that strategy makes sense. Just a little aside for those of you guys who didn't read this post. I've been talking about lately about Jay Abraham says that if your company is under $10 million, you should focus on going after deal sources rather than deals one-to-one, which means going after people who have all your clients instead of pursuing clients one-to-one. Not that pursuing clients one-to-one is a bad thing, but it's a more efficient use of time. So he says, I see this potential issue. How do you navigate? If you're new to a business model or niche, there are going to be a ton of holes in your delivery and fulfillment. This means you won't always provide a good experience or get good results for a client. So if you're getting deal sources early on, that could work in reverse by damaging your opportunities in these circles. Now, if you're doing white label fulfillment, this is even more of a risk. Thoughts? There are two camps with these, my friend. Camp number one is the type of person, by the way, who has zero skills to bring to the table. And that is you're getting hired to make websites, but you actually know fucking nothing about making websites. Or you're getting hired to do pay-per-click and you only have a theoretical understanding of pay-per-click. And if that's the case, you probably should not even be working with people. You should find a way to get paid to learn your skill, whether that's working for somebody else or doing trials and things like that. So I don't want to sound too harsh, but if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you shouldn't really be going after clients. But the second camp is the camp of people who have a good thing and are just full of self-doubt about it. And I'll tell you, that never really goes away, just so you know. There's a thing called imposter syndrome. And it's the idea that, like, who am I to be able to help somebody? Who am I to do pay-per-click? There's people who know it better than me. Who am I to do a website? There's people who know it better than me. Who am I to make a funnel or do Facebook ads? There's people who know it better than me. Things like that. That's called imposter syndrome. And that's just a function of giving a shit. You're supposed to have that. If you actually care about your clients, you're supposed to have an element of doubt. Now, having said that, if you have too many holes in your delivery, the best way to do it is just to offer to do something for free and figure it out, because you cannot figure out the holes in your delivery on the fucking sidelines. You got to get into the game and play it. Like, you can't theoretically figure out the holes in pay-per-click without actually running pay-per-click campaigns. So that's my way of saying, if you legitimately have like something you're not sure of, like, you can always, like, a lot of times marketers don't realize this. I see this because I got pitched the other day and I still laugh about it. A guy said, with our cold outreach appointment booking service, we absolutely guarantee we can add between $300,000 and $500,000 per month to your business. And I was like, what a crazy fucking high promise. Like, what if they add $75,000 a month? Am I going to throw them out and go, fuck you, you only added 75 grand a month. You guys are scum. I don't want you, right? So we think a lot of times as marketers, you have to, like, show up with these big, bold, I will absolutely fucking guarantee it. And you'd be amazed, because most of my revenue share deals, I show up and go, hey, I had a cool idea for you. I'm not really sure it'll work, but you open to run in a little test and we'll see if it works. And then if it works, you can pay me something for it. And if it doesn't, we'll just, cut it short at a test. And usually, like, they're like, yeah. So it's amazing that we think we have to show up with all the answers. So if you're still at a point where there's actually holes in your delivery, just fucking tell them, like, I'm still figuring this thing out, but I would love to run a little test and show you I can get it working. And if I can't, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the key with this whole game, is to make small but meaningful promises you can deliver on. Not big, bold promises where you have to do like 100 out of 100 delivery, but small but meaningful shit that you can actually fulfill on that automatically leads into more. And so that's what you do to figure out the holes in your delivery. Having said that, if you're legitimately in the first camp where you haven't figured out how to actually deliver something of substantial value, you're never going to be able to sell agency services, because you'll deep down, you'll know it. They'll be able to feel it from you that you don't actually know how to make a website. So if you're not willing to learn, you got to get into that. And for most of you guys, you are. That's why you're here. So I would say it's mostly just a game of overcoming your self-doubt, and realize it's an iterative process. You're never going to be finished improving it. There's always a fucking hole in your delivery. There's always a new constraint. Like, in the beginning, it's just getting fucking clients. And then when you get clients in the door, it's like fulfilling on it. And then when you start fulfilling on it, then it's hiring. And then when it's hiring, it's like building a managerial structure. And then it's like doing it at scale. Like, there's always going to be a new hole. Like, you're never going to have a service that's completely free of holes. So, like, it's not, the goal is not to get it perfect. It's to get it working and progressing. So I hope that's helpful, my man. Nnatt Garas, our man, says, hey everyone, how do you hire, or where do you hire commission-only salespeople? Short answer is I just get most of mine in Facebook groups, but I'll tell you what will help you dramatically get commission-only salespeople is understanding it's like anything else. Everything in this fucking world that you do is an offer. When I want my kids to go to bed, hey, if you guys go to bed, I offer them something. I say, we'll do some cool thing tomorrow. Or after you guys wake up, we got this cool thing planned, right? Like, or if you guys go to bed early, I'll get you a cookie. I'm a bad father sometimes like that, and I let them eat shitty sugar. Judge me, I don't care, but it's the truth. But just letting you guys know that, like, everything is an offer, and so you have to be clear. And I'll tell you, there's generally two types of offers that, at least that I've seen, work really well. One of those is, if you're actually booking people on the calendar and then you're hiring commission-only salespeople and you actually are putting people on their calendar, then that's the fucking offer. Is like, they don't have to hunt, they don't have to do anything. They get a pre-scheduled call, and all they got to do is sit down with somebody and talk to them for like 30 to 90 minutes and fucking close them, right? So if that's the case, there's a real value you're bringing to the table in getting like preset appointments. Secondly, if you're expecting them to go get preset appointments, then they're probably not going to close them for you start to finish. And so you probably the offer is going to be like, I will pay you a set amount every single time you get the right kind of person on the calendar, right? So those are the two offers that I've seen that like kind of work the best for getting commission-only salespeople. And if you advertise those offers, you'll get salespeople wanting to come work with you. Either like, I'll pay you every time you get a booking, or I'll put people on your calendar and you just have to close them. And when you do that, all you got to do is post that in groups that you're looking to hire somebody and this is the scenario, and usually you'll find it. Where people struggle with this is they have a broken offer and a broken sales process, and they want to bring in commission-only people to magically solve all their fucking problems, and it doesn't usually work that way because you're bringing them into brokenness. So like if you want a person to go find people and close them and sell them and hand them to you on a silver plate, I'm not saying you won't find those people, but usually you'll just end up with like cheap third world help that doesn't do a good job in that and won't solve your problem because you have to solve that actual problem. Neil says, anyone have an approach that's worked for getting interviews within their niche? Yeah, Neil, this is one of those things that's it's way easier than most people realize to interview people. And I experienced this, so just so you guys know a little bit of backstory, I had a friend back home, and he started a fashion magazine. I was about 20 years old, and I came to him, and I was like, this is a really cool idea, but I didn't, with the fashion magazine, I didn't, like, know anything about creating a magazine, but I knew a little bit about, like, I could sell ad space, and so I was like, my dude, I could help you sell ad space. And he was like, okay, let's partnership. And so we went to go launch this magazine. He actually bailed on me on the last day. We went to go move it to a new city. And so I ended up having to launch a magazine by myself. And I never really got off the ground, one of my many kind of failed entrepreneurial things. But as part of it, I remember going to media companies and I said, hey, this is my new magazine. Can you buy some advertising in it? And they said, well, what's your distribution numbers? And I was like, well, 0, because I just started. And they said, well, who's going to be in it? And I said, I don't know. I haven't made it yet. And so they really kind of like raked me on the coals with like, basically I had a half-finished idea. And they said, well, go get some names to be in your thing. And so I went and started reaching out to people and just saying, hey, I really like you. Can I interview you? Will you write for me? Can I pay you to write for me? Like different angles of that. And what I was amazed is if you just reached out to people and said, can I interview you? For the most part, they said yes. So when I was brand new in the legal niche, I knew 0 lawyers. I had 0 connections. I knew, like, literally, I didn't even fucking know anybody in my personal life who had gone to law school or anything like that. I do now. I know plenty of that. But when I started, I knew 0 lawyers. I literally had to Google who are the top lawyers. And I called number 1 on the list. And I just called their front desk and said, love what you guys are doing. I love that you guys have built the biggest law firm. I want to interview the boss. His name is John Morgan, by the way. Can I interview you? And they said, hold on a second. And I thought they're going to hang up on me. And they said, July 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern or August 14th at, such and such time. And so, Will, my man, I love when he's hyping me up better than I actually am in real life. But anyways, they just send people to you. So it's not as hard to interview people, especially like if you understand the value is you're promoting them. Right? Like you're sharing their message. Even Jay Abraham, when I first reached out to Jay, there was some work involved, but even they say, well, like, hey, we try and accommodate everybody. We'll try and get you an interview, right? So like, understand that the value you bring in table is you're sharing their message. So like, don't approach it as I'm trying to get something. Approach it as I'm trying to share you with the world. Even if you got an audience of 3 people and one of them's your mom and the other's your brother, that's still like more people they can reach, and they're usually interested. If they're not too high level and too busy, they'll do it. And I was actually amazed that I could get, for the most part, like maybe not A-level athletes and celebrities, but I could get B-level athletes and celebrities just with an email or a phone call. I want to interview you. All right, cool, done. It's that easy. So don't make this harder than it needs to be. I love what you're doing. I want to interview you. All right, cool. Most of the people will say yes to that. Dr. Matt Coffey says, this is not so much as a question, but I just wanted to float this out there for you guys. He says, so I asked Frankie Fihn about posting this question. We have a call center in our agency. We book hundreds of leads for our clients. We have grown it to a point where we can offer it as a white label service to other agencies. Would anyone in the group be interested about having a pro call center book appointments for your clients? We charge $15 per lead to follow up with clients, can book them into any system. Want to know what you guys think? You can mark it up, sell it to your clients. Frankie thinks this might be worthwhile. By the way, just so you guys know, the whole idea behind this, Matt and I had this discussion behind the scenes, is the number 1 complaint people get with service delivery is, oh, the leads are all bad, they're all shit, and as we know, clients can't answer the phone, they can't follow up with people. And so one of the best solutions we've ever seen is when you just take that out of their hands and do it for them. And what Matt is talking about is they built their own call centers to follow up with their clients and actually book those people into their system. Because usually, like, a dentist sucks at answering the phone. or their front desk sucks at answering the phone, but they can handle somebody who's booked up into an appointment and actually shows up at the office and then says, here's my insurance. And so that's what you want to do, is bridge the gap, because they're so bad at phone sales. Like they don't answer the phone. They can't answer basic questions. They sound like really uninterested in the call, just like tone of voice and all those kind of things. And so rather than having clients who say, oh, they're all bad leads, is that you would just lease his systems and be able to do this as an add-on service for clients. And ultimately, it converts to sales. This is especially useful for those of you guys who have like higher ticket things. I wouldn't recommend doing it for a restaurant per se, because it's like, 15 bucks is going to be expensive. But if you're doing this for like a roofing company that's got, $100,000 roofing job, it's going to be a no-brainer for 15 bucks to follow up with them. Zach says, hey, Frankie, my man, are you using AI to follow up with leads automatically? No, because I'm not that sophisticated yet, Zach. Although I would entirely endorse doing that. Like usually, by the way, 99% of the time, any single follow-up system is better than what they're doing, which is nothing. Right? Especially if those of you guys who work with local businesses, like literally any system you have is better than what they're doing, which is nothing. So would you use AI? All kinds of different options to do that. We're going to be expanding some of those things. I'm test driving a few things. I've got a few friends that are influencers that are building those kind of things. And I've asked like, hey, when you guys have this ready, let us test drive it for you. So we have one where that I may be test driving. I don't know for sure, but it'll be where somebody visits the website about 20-25% of the time. We can actually get the person's email and then send them a personalized email right when they leave the website. So it's like retargeting to the extreme of like, hey, Zach, is there anything else we could have helped you answer? Brian says, does anyone have tips on agency web design and what to include on the website? Is anyone having luck with chatbots or particularly inquiry forms, a lead page, giving away free info that has helped to attract interested clients? Brian, this is one of those things where I feel like a lot of times, especially in beginning stages, people ask the wrong fucking questions. And I'm gonna answer the question you didn't ask, which is essentially you're asking like, how do I get clients? And you're saying, what should be on my website? The reality is, in the beginning stages, nobody knows you got a website. Nobody's going to it. Nobody gives a fuck. The only one who gives a fuck is you. What you have to do is go get actively into conversations with people in your niche. And what you'll find is out of those conversations is inevitably the service and the offer you create morphs and changes out of that. I have a friend named Kat Howell. Some of you guys will know she's gone a little bit crazy the last little bit in a good way. But she's a little bit out there on the weird spectrum. But she built like a $4 million per year Facebook ad agency. And I remember actually we helped her actually fulfill on her sales stuff in the early stages by lending some of our salespeople who were at half capacity in our agency. And I remember Kat got to $300,000 a month and then built her website. I want to say that again: $0 to $300,000, no website. $300,000 and above, had a website. Why? Because people are now Googling her, looking her up, asking questions. Is she legit? But I think a lot of new agencies obsess about a website that no one goes to, and you don't need to be one of those. I'm probably rushing a little bit because I got to go to the bathroom, drop some serious pee right now. I took a juice, and now it's catching up with me. Last question, Josh says, what's your approach to hiring and training new team members? Very, very simple. Is like screen. I call it the first day. It is like trial assignments, man. Like test them on the thing you're going to actually do. I learned this from Perry Marshall, who says if you went to play with a band, they wouldn't say, give us your resume, tell us about the last 4 bands. No! You get out the instruments and you play a song together. So that's like what our hiring process looks like. It's like, play this song and let's see how it sounds together, and I'll pay you for that song, like usually $5 or $10 for a trial assignment. I learned more from trial assignments than actually like doing that. And then training them is all about standard operating procedures. I've learned anytime an employee asks a question, as much as humanly possible, direct them to the SOP and the documentation with the answers. Don't answer the question one-to-one. Send them to the answer again and again and again and again. And what will happen is that's the training you want to do for people, is get them to that. Last one, we got Nikki Two Angels, and I really got to go to the bathroom. He says, hey, Frankie, just saw you went live. Got time to answer a question I was about to write on the discussion. Nick, actually, if you want to send that to me privately, you can, because I really got a jet, my man. I appreciate you guys. Check out the link I posted below. Sorry, guys, but nature calls. Hey, guys, if you like this video, you'll probably also like our free Facebook group, Beyond Agency Profits, Agency Lifestyle Design. You can get free copies of the book inside here. I look ridiculous. We're doing weekly Q&As, giving answers to all your questions. Some of the best, smartest, brightest people. We've got lots of industry leaders doing 7, 8 figures and beyond. It's a literal who's who of the brightest agency owners that I know, as well as lots of tips on scaling and stuff, books that work. So if you're not already part of it, you're going to want to be part of it. So make sure to click the link. I put it in the description of the video as well as in the pinned top comment below. So just scroll down and you can join, and it's totally free.